Holy smokes, we got to take a quick break. But coming up, it's absolutely no surprise we love coffee here on the morning show. It's what keeps us going. In a moment, a little perk at the job. We're going to take a trip to Coqui Mountain Coffee, where we meet the owner, Julie, and hear her very unique story of bringing her family heritage of Puerto Rico and Montana together to brew up a cup of joe. I think you're going to like it, a latte. And then...
Thank you, Matt. 6:13 now on this Thursday. International Coffee Day is a month out, and of course, we're preparing ourselves here at Montana this morning. We're also approaching the 2-year anniversary of Hurricane Maria, hitting the island of Puerto Rico as we closely watch Hurricane Dorian dodge the island and now threaten Florida.
Puerto Rico has rich and diverse soil. Mix it with the microclimates of the trade winds, and you've brewed up the perfect combination for the grounds of good coffee growing conditions. All of this leads us to a tiny little coffee shop in downtown Bozeman. The owner, Julie Gandulla, tells us why her Montana and Puerto Rican roots were so important in percolating the perfect cup of joe.
Hello, my name is Julie Gandulla. Welcome to Coqui Mountain Coffee. This is our coffee shop here in Bozeman, Montana. Behind me you can see the mural that is done by a local artist out of Belgrade. On this side you can see Glacier National Park, and as you follow it, an old school map, and then on the far side you can see the Morro Fort in Puerto Rico. The reason why you see Glacier and the Morro Fort in Puerto Rico is because this coffee shop is basically a tribute to my family, my Montana Irish heritage and then my Puerto Rican heritage. And it's from Puerto Rico that we source 100% of our coffee. So the house coffee will always be from Puerto Rico. Even though we bring rotators in from around the world, when you come in here, you will always enjoy a cup of Puerto Rican coffee. So we're in downtown Bozeman at 441 East Main, right next to the Western Cafe. And originally, my mom, who's the owner of the Western Cafe, was considering renting out this space. And I was considering what I was gonna do next after helping with the cafe for over a decade. And she asked if I wanted to open up something in this space. And so I started thinking about it, and along the same spirit of this wall, I decided to open a coffee shop that was in synergy not only with my mom and her breakfast venue next door, but something that had to do with me and my background.
So Julie did her homework. She traveled to Puerto Rico and visited many fincas or farms. She wanted to learn as much as possible and find the best beans on the island. And then what happened next was a fortunate strike of fate. She met a very kind farmer who wanted to help her get the best resources. So we asked her for her contact information.
And I write down Julie Gandulla, and he goes, "You're a Gandulla?" And I said, "Yes, my father is Gandulla, and he was born in Puerto Rico." And he goes, "Really? My wife's a Gandulla." And so out of this just crazy destiny, I was able to meet up with a cousin who distributes coffee on the island of Puerto Rico.
Julie's newfound cousin connected her with a coffee connoisseur, a third-generation coffee producer and roaster, Alberto Mendez Custodio. His grandparents, Dionisio Custodio and Estar Jimenez, were pioneers, starting back in 1980. After Dionisio passed away of a stroke in 1990, Estar took over production. She passed it down to her daughter, and now the family business is run by her grandson, Alberto, and his wife.
My greatest education comes from my grandmother. Because in Puerto Rico, coffee is a tradition. It's passed from generation to generation. You have to work with coffee to better understand.
Are you planning on passing it down to your kids?
Yes, I'm planning to.
Yeah.
I hope that they will love coffee. Yes?
Yes.
You like coffee?
Coffee.
¿Te gusta café? Hey.
So the question is, what do you name a Puerto Rican coffee shop located in downtown Bozeman?
I looked over as I drive every day to Livingston. There is Frog Rock up on the mountain. And then one of the national symbols of Puerto Rico is the coqui, which is a Puerto Rican frog. And the male sings his name, Coqui, Coqui. And so I thought, oh, Coqui Mountain, Frog Rock. And that was another way that I kind of brought Montana and Puerto Rico together.
So Coqui Mountain Coffee was born, opening its doors in the summer of 2017. And then disaster struck. The deadly Category 5 Hurricane Maria has been regarded as the worst natural disaster in recorded history to the U.S. Virgin Islands, Dominica, and Puerto Rico, causing $91.6 billion in damage and claiming more than 3,000 lives.
Hurricane is something that we don't want to remember.
We would drive by areas where there's full cars embedded in mountains. You know those huge wind turbines and their blades? They were sliced in half.
It wiped off 80% of all the coffee plantations.
It must have felt like the end of the world.
It was devastating. We were working without power after 2 months after Hurricane Maria. So we had to process coffee the old way, by hand, everything. 2 days before Hurricane Maria, I roasted coffee and I told Julie, I will have your coffee. Don't worry about that because you will have your supply. I have to travel to another town to send the coffee to Julie by mail, but we did it.
Now, even though Coqui has only been open a couple of months, they've raised thousands of pounds of goods and money and sent it all down to Puerto Rico for relief aid.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. And Julie says a portion of every cup of Java sold gives back to Puerto Rican land conservation efforts and the growers of Cafe Aromas del Campo, her coffee company. The grounds of her mission, we all succeed and thrive together. I just love it.
Nice.
Such a cool story.
Yeah.
And also, they make their own almond milk in-house. It's one of the only places that I've ever been to that's ever done that.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.